Hello, I'm John Weiler with the Sovereign Passage Assembly, and this is our daily brief for January 23rd, 2019. We are covering Parashat, which is the entire reading is Shemoth, chapter 10, verse 1 through chapter 13, verse 16. And today we're going to be going over chapter 12, 1 through 20. We're going to be discussing the beginning of the year that is given to Mosheh and Aharon, and the instructions for Passover and Unleavened Bread. Now, this comes at the end of a discourse between Mosheh and Pharaoh, where YAHUAH tells Mosheh that he's going to bring one final judgment with the death of the firstborn of all in Mitzrayim, to include the animals. But nothing is going to happen to Yashar'el, to the upright of El. And this is to show the distinction that YAHUAH has for his chosen people, the upright, the ones who walk upright in his way, and the rest of here, Mitzrayim. Okay, because this, what we're reading now, is Yashar'el being drawn out of Mitzrayim by great signs and wonders. So the death of the firstborn. And what we're about to get here are the instructions for Yashar'el during this moment. So let's go to our word, and I would ask that you please follow along with your word. We have to always remember that we are here to walk as our Mashiach walked, walk in the way of YAHUAH. And we have one teacher who is Mashiach, so we should never tie ourselves to the person that's reading the word of YAHUAH. We should always tie ourselves to the word of YAHUAH. Our goal in our walk here is to be the fountains of living water. So as we immerse ourselves in the word, and we become sanctified vessels for the Ruach HaKodesh, that's what allows us that ability to do that. So we should never be followers of individuals, we should be followers of the way. So when we hear, if you're here to hear the words that I'm speaking, the words of YAHUAH, reading the words of YAHUAH, I'd ask that you follow along. That way we start to tie our Ruach to the word. Okay, so we're in Shemoth, Exodus chapter 12, and we're going to read verse 1 through 20. And YAHUAH spoke unto Mosheh and Aharon in the land of Mitzrayim, saying, This month shall be unto you the beginning of months. It shall be the first month of the year to you. Speak ye unto all the assembly of Yashar'el, saying, In the 10th day of this month they shall take to them every man a lamb, according to the house of their fathers, a lamb for a house. And if the household be too little for the lamb, let him and his neighbor next unto his house take it according to the number of the souls. Every man according to his eating shall make your count for the lamb. Your lamb shall be without blemish, a male of the first year. Ye shall take it out from the sheep or from the goats, and ye shall keep it up until the 14th day of the same month. And the whole multitude of the assembly of Yashar'el shall kill it in the evening, and they shall take of the blood and strike it on the two side posts and on the upper door posts of the houses wherein they shall eat it. And they shall eat the flesh in that night, roast with fire, and matzah or unleavened bread. And with bitter herbs they shall eat it. Eat not of it raw, nor sodden at all with water, but roast with fire, his head with his legs, and with the purtenance thereof. And ye shall let nothing of it remain until the morning. And that which remains of it until the morning ye shall burn with fire. And thus shall ye eat it, with your loins girded, your shoes on your feet, and your staff in your hand. Ye shall eat it in haste. It is YAHUAH's Pesach, our Passover. For I will pass through the land of Mitzrayim this night, and will smite all the firstborn in the land of Mitzrayim, both man and beast. And against all the Elohai of Mitzrayim I will execute judgment. I am YAHUAH. And the blood shall be to you for a mark upon the houses where ye are. And when I see the blood, I will pass over you. And the plague shall not be upon you to destroy you, when I smite the land of Mitzrayim. And this day shall be unto you for a memorial, and ye shall keep it a feast to YAHUAH throughout your generations. Ye shall keep it a feast by ordinance forever. 7 days shall ye eat matzah. Even the first day ye shall put away the leaven out of your houses, for whosoever eats chametz, which is leavened bread, from the first day until the 7th day, that soul shall be cut off from Yashar'el. And in the first day there shall be a holy assembly, and in the 7th day there shall be a holy assembly to you. No manner of work shall be done in them, save that which every man must eat, that only may be done of you. And ye shall guard the feast of matzah, or unleavened bread, for in this selfsame day have I brought your armies out of the land of Mitzrayim. Therefore shall ye guard this day in your generations by an ordinance forever. In the first month, on the 14th day of the month at evening, ye shall eat matzah, until the 21st day of the month at evening. 7 days shall there be no chametz, leavened bread, found in your houses, for whosoever eats that which is of chametz, even that soul shall be cut off from the assembly of Yashar'el. Whether he be a stranger or born in the land, ye shall eat nothing with chametz in your habitations, ye shall eat matzah. Okay, so what is about to occur is something that's very grievous, very grievous. The firstborn of all men and animals are going to die. And it doesn't just mean kids. It's the firstborn of all. So there's going to be quite a bit of death that's about to occur, and grief that's about to occur. So we've been talking this whole week, though, how this leads up to the firstborn of YAHUAH, the death of the firstborn, which is Yashar'el. So what we have here now is the instructions for YAHUAH to pass over, to where he sees the mark, or a mark, his mark, that he knows his people. Okay, so he's telling Yashar'el, he's giving them instructions now, because he just told Pharaoh that this will not occur in Yashar'el. Okay, the ones who believe the upright of El. Okay, so now we're getting the first of instructions. Okay, what sets Yashar'el apart, sets the upright of El apart from the world. So in the beginning here in chapter 12, YAHUAH spoke to Mosheh and Aharon in the land of Mitzrayim, saying that this month shall be the beginning of months, those first month of the year. This is not the case for us now in the whole world that we're living in. So, and it wasn't the case here in Mitzrayim either. Okay, the whole world is based off a Julian calendar from Julius Caesar. So we're not set up on the calendar of YAHUAH. And there's much, much more that can be said about that. For the days that we celebrate, okay, the feast, this is the first that we're getting right now, is Pesach and Matzah, Passover and Unleavened Bread, that we do celebrate. We celebrate very, very, with great joy, and we're going to talk about why here, but we do keep this feast, or moed, which is an appointed time, appointment that we keep with YAHUAH, YAHUSHA. But we don't have the correct calendar. We don't even really quite understand how time is kept by the Ivrites, okay, at this time, as in what is given by YAHUAH to keep time. We have a lot of things that could be, okay, whether it's a lunar calendar, lunar-based calendar, we have a solar-based calendar, we have all these things. But this seems to be around the time of the spring equinox. Okay, seems to be around that. Because what we have in the sky are lights that YAHUAH put for times. Okay, to give us signs and wonders and days and dates for festivals. So that's a challenge for us. That's not what we're going to discuss right now. And it is something, too, that when we discuss things like that, because it's not apparent, it's not clear to us, we have to go with great discernment for what we're listening and what we're going to choose to do, and whose words we're going to choose to follow and why. Okay? We talk throughout this week, and we talk about this continually, where Hasatan, the adversary, uses the words of YAHUAH, misuses the words of YAHUAH, so takes it in vain to tempt Yahusha in the wilderness. But Yahusha corrects him with the words of YAHUAH. Okay, and because Yahusha is the fullness or the fulfillment, the completeness of the way of YAHUAH, and he knows the difference between the holy, set apart, and the common or profane, even if it is the words that of YAHUAH that are used profanely or common. Okay, so when we judge what we hear, we need to judge it by the words of YAHUAH. Okay, so what is holy? What is set apart? Because he is the one that makes us holy, makes us holy through his word. What sanctifies us through the truth. So when we're listening to what times and things like this are, it is up to us to know the difference between the set apart and the common. So what human beings are saying because of what they think. Okay? And possibly what they read from history, which are written in an account from human beings, which are hearkening to the words in the way of the serpent. So we just need to be educated in the way, and we do that by immersing ourselves in the Word, and then we need to use discernment through the Ruach HaKodesh, because if we are immersed in the words, we're sanctified, and we have the Ruach, and our words are living water, and we have to trust in that. Okay, so we'll end that point there with, it's truly up to us to differentiate between the holy and the set apart and the common to man. Okay, but then we talk about the Passover. Okay, the Passover is very important to us. Today we have the Passover that is celebrated in some circles of the world, and it's celebrated with additions to it or reasons to it that are not necessarily in the Word. And I personally cannot speak to that. I can just go by what I have read, and that is not always the accurate description there. So that's as far as I'm going to go with any other religion which has the man's concepts of how to approach YAHUAH in it that I have not personally taken part in. I have taken part in Christianity, to be a Christian, and which I'm no longer a Christian, this Passover and Unleavened Bread have been replaced with a number of different things that do not celebrate the coming of the Mashiach, okay, the salvation, Yeshua, through YAHUSHA HA'MASHIACH, that allows us now to come back into that relationship to be the upright of El, all right? It doesn't do that at all. In fact, it's the opposite, okay? So we talked about the plague of the frogs, changing from one organism that breathes air, has gills, breathes air from water, and then the metamorphosis occurs to where it's the opposite, where it grows legs and grows lungs and can breathe air. So it's an opposite creation through its lifespan. And that's what we have seen with man's desire with the word of YAHUAH. It becomes the opposite. So we no longer follow the Torah in Christianity, which are the instructions to make his set-apart people holy. It's what makes his people holy. So we no longer do that, and we no longer follow the commands of YAHUAH. Okay, the way of YAHUAH will follow in the festivals of YAHUAH, we follow the commands in the festivals of man. So it's the opposite. So the Christians do not do the Passover, don't celebrate Passover and the festival of Unleavened Bread. It's leading up from Ash Wednesday to Maundy, Thursday, Good Friday, and Easter Monday, which are None of these things here. In fact, they all point to the Queen of Heaven, or Ishtar, that is Easter, who is a fertility goddess, okay, a goddess of fertility. That's why they decorate Easter eggs and have all this stuff that's incorporated in the death and resurrection of our Mashiach. So, and we can't do that. We, as the upright of El, we don't condone that, and we have nothing to do with it now, because that's what we've come out of, that life there. And it's because we know the difference between the holy, the set apart, and the profane, the common to man, who hearken to the words of the serpent. Okay, so this all ties together with the signs and wonders that Mosheh and Aharon did to the world, okay, to Yashar'el, the elders, to Pharaoh and his court, and then to the world, that when the authority is thrown down by the Kohanim, that rod is thrown down, it's the serpent, the authority of the serpent. And we read in Luke, and that was added to our articles that I write to go as a to accompany these videos, in Luke chapter 4, where Hasatan, the devil or the accuser, is tempting Yahusha in verse 5. So Lucas chapter 4 verse 5 says, "And the devil, taking him up into a high mountain, showed unto him all the kingdoms of the world in a moment of time. And the devil said unto him, All this power I will give you, and the glory of them, for that is delivered unto me. And to whomsoever I will, I give it. If you therefore will worship me, and all shall be yours." Okay? So he says, I have the authority here, and whoever I want to give it to, I can give it to. And Yahusha answered and said unto him, "Get behind me, Satan," or Hasatan, adversary, "for it is written, You shall worship YAHUAH Eloheka, and him only shall you serve." Okay, so correcting him with the words of YAHUAH. Okay, knowing the difference there. So we see that Hasatan has that authority. Okay, and that should also make us think about who we're supporting, and what we're even listening to about our leaders of the world. Okay, because Hasatan just tells us that whomsoever he wants, he will put into authority. Okay, so now though, to come back to that, it gives us the instructions here. Okay, as to what it is. Now, when we're coming out of the world, especially at the very beginning, we don't really quite know what to do. Okay, because we've just seen the light and we've turned our path onto His way, and we are in the process of being sanctified through the truth. We're learning. Okay, we're walking as infants, as what the apostles wrote. Okay, to their new ecclesias or assemblies, and it's true. That's what we are. And to go into maturity. Okay, so it's a crawl, walk, run concept. So here, though, it gives us the instructions for Yashar'el as they're coming out. We celebrate Pesach and Unleavened Bread with great joy, because we know what we have now with our Passover Lamb. But it was a little bit different then for them, because the Mashiach had not come. Okay, the Mashiach, what all this is pointing to here is what the Mashiach did, and then what we are in now in this period of time that we are taking the leaven out of our lives. Okay, so let's talk about that. So the instructions here, starting in verse 3, it says, "Speak to all the assembly of Yashar'el, saying, In the 10th day of this month, you shall take to them every man a lamb, according to the house of their fathers, a lamb for a house. And if the household be too little for the lamb, let him and his neighbor next to his house take it according to the number of the souls. Every man according to his eating shall make your count for a lamb. Your lamb should be without blemish, a male of the first year. You shall take it out from the sheep or from the goats, and you shall keep it till the 14th day of the month. And the whole multitude of the assembly of Yashar'el shall kill it in the evening. And then I shall take the blood and strike it on the two side posts and the upper door posts of the houses wherein they shall eat." Okay, so let's stop right there, okay, with the mark. Okay, so first of all, it tells us the time frame. So on the 10th day of the month, take a lamb, okay, a lamb for a household. And if it's too small, share with a neighbor. The lamb should be without blemish. Okay, the lamb is YAHUSHA. Okay, that's our lamb. Now we had the herald of YAHUSHA in Yehukanan, the immerser, John the Baptist. Now he's giving an immersion of a sign, baptism of water for repentance and remission of sins. Okay, so the immersion. But we know that the immersion is the word. So we're not going to go out and dunk ourselves in a lake or a bathtub and then say that we're saved. Okay, because it doesn't work that way. All right, what we have is the opportunity now to become sanctified through the truth. All right, through the Lamb, through Yahushua the Messiah. And so the repentance is turning back to the way of Yah. So it's not saying sorry like myself has grown up and then continuing in sin, which is rejection of the way of Yah. It is turning to Yah. Okay, so apostasy or apostasia is turning away from, repentance is turning to. So that's what he is preaching and baptizing in the Jordan River, so which would be the crossing point, very possibly the crossing point that Yahusha, son of Nun, took the this group that we're studying, or the children of this group that we're studying, into the land promised to Abraham, Yitzhak, and Yaakov. Okay, so he's making that that location and that baptism to show that it will be Yahusha, the Messiah, HaMashiach, that he's going to first of all be this propitiation, which will be his death. So we can enter in through him the door with his blood on the lintel, and we can enter back into our relationship, okay, which is a marriage covenant, which we become the bride of the Lamb now. But in order to do that, we are immersed in the water of the Word, to where we are immersed in the Word in the way of YAHUAH, to become a sanctified vessel, because we're sanctified by the truth. Your word is truth, in John 17:17. And then we can house Ruach HaKodesh, and this is the water that Yahusha gives to us, this repentance, the opportunity to be set apart, to where we become wells of living water, and we give those others, another child, water to drink, or another person to drink, and then they become the same. Okay, these are the opportunities through the Mashiach. Now, let's read it though in John chapter 1, and we're going to read 15 to 42. Yehukanan bore witness of him, the immerser, and cried, saying, "This is he of whom I spoke. He that comes after me is preferred before me, for he was before me. And of his fullness have all we received, and grace for grace. For the Torah was given through Mosheh. Grace and truth came by YAHUSHA HA'MASHIACH. No man has seen Yah at any time. The Yachid, which is in the bosom of the Father, has declared him." The Yachid is beloved Son. "And this is the record of Yehukanan, when the Yahudim sent priests and Leviim from Jerusalem to ask him, 'Who are you?' And he confessed and denied not, but confessed, 'I am not HaMashiach.' And they asked him, 'What then? Are you Eliyahu?' And he said, 'I am not.' 'Are you that prophet?' And he answered, 'No.' Then said they unto him, 'Who are you? That we may give an answer to them that sent us. What say you of yourself?' And he said, 'I am the voice crying of one crying in the wilderness, make straight the way of YAHUAH, as said the prophet Yeshayahu.' And they which were sent were of the Parashim. They asked him and said unto him, 'Why immerse you then, if you not be the Mashiach or Eliyahu, neither that prophet?' And Yehukanan answered him, saying, 'I immerse with water, but there stands one among you whom ye know not. He it is who is coming after me is preferred before me, whose shoes latchet I am not worthy to unloose.' These things were done in Beit Avarah, beyond the Yarden, where Yehukanan was immersing, okay, the Jordan. So it's done in Beit Avarah, beyond the Jordan, where Yehukanan was immersing. The next day Yehukanan sees Yahusha coming unto him, saying, 'Behold the Lamb of YAHUAH, which takes away the sin of the world. This is he of whom I said, After me comes a man which is preferred before me, for he was before me, and I knew him not, but that he should be made manifest to Yashar'el, therefore am I come immersing with water.' And Yahuchanan bore record, saying, I saw the Ruach descending from heaven like a dove, and it abode upon him. And I knew him not, but he that sent me to immerse with water, the same said unto me, Upon whom you shall see the Ruach descending and remaining on him, the same is he that immerses with the Ruach HaKodesh. And I saw, and bore record, that this is the Son of Elohim. And the next day after Yahuchanan stood, and two of his Talmudim, and looking upon Yahusha as he walked, he said, Behold, the Lamb of YAHUAH. And the two Talmudim heard him speak, and they followed Yahusha. Then Yahusha turned and saw them following, and said unto him, What seek ye? They said unto him, Rabbi, which is to say, being interpreted, Teacher, where do you dwell? He said unto them, Come and see. And they came, and they saw where he dwelt, and abode with him that day, for it was about the 10th hour. One of the two which heard Yahuchanan speak and followed him was Andri, Shimon, Kepha's brother. He first finds his own brother Shimon, and says unto him, We have found HaMashiach. And he brought him to Yahusha, and when Yahusha beheld him, he said, You are Shimon, the son of Yonah. You shall be called Kepha, which is by an interpretation a stone. So Yahuchanan says twice, Behold the Lamb of YAHUAH, come to take away the sin of the world. Okay, without blemish. Okay, without blemish. Now this is also a broader concept too, with atonement, okay, which we're going to study in Vayikra. But we also have Mashiach telling us that he's the door. Okay, he's the door. So we keep the lamb without blemish, okay, with no sin, without blemish. And then you shall keep until the 14th day of the same month. The whole multitude of the assembly of Yashar'el shall kill it in the evening. And they shall take the blood and strike it on the two posts and on the upper doorposts of the houses, wherein they shall eat it. Okay, so Mashiach is the door, and he tells us that he's the door. Okay, so what we can enter into through his blood. Okay, that covers the sides and the top. So let's go to John chapter 10, verse 1 through 10. It says, Amen, amen, I say unto you, he that enters not by the door into the sheepfold, but climbs up some other way, the same is a thief and a robber. But he that enters in by the door is the shepherd of the sheep. To him the porter opens, and the sheep hear his voice, and he calls his own sheep by his name and leads them out. And when he puts forth his own sheep, he goes before them, and the sheep follow him, for they know his voice. And a stranger will they not follow, but will flee from him, for they know not the voice of strangers. This parable spoke Yahusha unto them, but they understood not what things they were which he spoke unto them. Then said Yahusha unto them again, Amen, amen, or truly, truly, I say unto you, I am the door of the sheep. All that ever came before me are thieves and robbers, but the sheep did not hear them. I am the door. By me, if any man enter in, he shall be saved, and shall go in and out and find pasture. The thief comes not, but for to steal, and to kill, and to destroy. I am come, that they may have life, and that they may have it more abundantly. Okay, Mashiach is the door back into the relationship. We come by the blood of the Lamb, okay, both in atonement, and for this Passover, for YAHUAH, for the death of the firstborn. So that's how we enter in. So now it tells us that how to eat this Passover meal, that they shall eat the flesh in that night, roast with fire, and unleavened bread, matzah, and with bitter herbs. So that not to eat it raw or boiled, but roast it with fire, the head and the legs and everything, and whatever's not eaten, you burn it up. You don't leave it, okay, you burn it up. Now this points to Mashiach, okay, is the propitiation or the consequence for our rejection, okay, the rejection of the way, or living according to the way of the serpent, okay, the one who has the authority here in this world, whether we are aware of it or not. But now we're aware of it, okay, we're aware that that's not the way. So now we're entering in through this, back into our relationship through our door, which is Mashiach, who's our Passover Lamb. So he's the one that, his blood that we enter in freely through as a mark. Okay, that's our mark now, that we are in relationship through YAHUSHA HA'MASHIACH. Okay, we are the bride of the Lamb. Okay, so verse 11, it says, you shall eat it dressed and ready to go. Okay, with your shoes on your feet, staff in hand, you're going to eat it quickly, because now this is the Passover. It means that once this occurs, you're going to come out of the world. You're going to come away from Mitzrayim. You're going to go, because we're told that they're going to send you away. All right, they're not going to want to keep you anymore. You've been asking to leave. Now they're going to tell you to go. They're going to send you away. And he says in verse 12, for I will pass through the land of Mitzrayim this night, and will smite the firstborn of all the land of Mitzrayim, both man and beast, and against all the Elohai of the Mitzrayim I will execute judgment. I am YAHUAH. Okay, and he says, I am that I am. That's what that phrase would be. I am YAHUAH is I am that I am. Okay, so we got to kind of look at the name of YAHUAH. All right, we know what the name is. We get that through YAHUSHA. And YAHUSHA is the manifest. His name was made manifest. So that's the way. Okay, his name YAHUAH is the way or the path of righteousness. Okay, it is YAHUAH is what sets us apart. So it's not his proper name. It is the way. Okay, who or how he is. And verse 13, it says, and the blood shall be to you for a mark upon the houses where ye are. And when I see the blood, I will pass over you, and the plague shall not be upon you to destroy you when I smite the land of Mitzrayim. So we'll be sealed, okay, with his mark. His mark. Now his mark, I am YAHUAH, okay, coming in, YAHUSHA came in his name, Mosheh has come in his name, we come in his name. That's what gives us the springs of living water, the Ruach HaKodesh, our mark. Okay, our mark is what we think and what we do. Okay, so on our foreheads and our hands. Now if we have taken the mark of the beast, who is the authority of this, which is the serpent, and the things that the beast tells us to do, which is contrary, is the opposite. Okay, that's what I've come out of, is the opposite of what it says to do here. So if you're celebrating Easter, for example, that's the opposite of what it tells us to do here in the Word. That's the mark of the beast. Okay, we have the mark here. This is a mark. Right here, the Aleph and Tav. So the mark of the ox head, or the authority, right, of who we serve. You know, we're servants of Yahweh YAHUSHA. Okay, once we understand this concept here and who we come through. But the mark for sealing our foreheads and our hands, praise Yahweh, that has been sealed for us too, then, you know, we think and we do the truth, right? So we worship or live in spirit and truth. So our Ruach, which is aligned in the way of Yah, and we follow, we are sanctified through the Word. And that's what gives us the Ruach HaKodesh, the springs of living water. So, as a mark or a sign upon the houses where ye are, when I see the blood, I will pass over you. Okay, so it's by the blood of the Lamb, okay, that we enter in through that door. He is the door. And this day shall ye keep you for a memorial, and shall keep it as a feast to YAHUAH throughout generations. You shall keep the feast by ordinance forever. So the question is, do we do this? And the answer is yes, absolutely. Do we keep a lamb? No. We don't keep a lamb and kill and slaughter the lamb and eat the lamb. That has already been done. That's already completed for us. So let's go here to Luke chapter 22. And we're going to read, so we're going to go to Luke chapter 22. We're going to read 1 through 30. So Luke chapter 22 says, approaching now to the feast of Pesach week, which is said to be the Pesach, and the chief priests and scribes sought how they might kill him, for they feared the people. Then entered Satan, or Hasatan, into Yehuda, surnamed Iscariot, being of the number of the 12, and he went his way and communed with the chief priests and the captains how he might betray him unto them. And they were glad and covenanted to give him money. And he promised and sought opportunity to betray him unto them in the absence of the multitude. And at the beginning of the daylight hours of the Pesach week, when the Pesach must be killed, he sent Kepha and Yehuchanan, saying, Go and prepare us the Pesach, that we may eat. And they said unto him, Where will you that we prepare? And he said unto them, Behold, when you are entered into the city, there shall be a man meet you, bearing a pitcher of water. Follow him into the house where he enters in. And you shall say unto the goodman of the house, The Rabbi says unto you, Where is the guest chamber, where I shall eat the Pesach with my Talmudim? And he shall show you a large upper room furnished, there make ready. And they went, and found as he had said unto them, and they made ready the Pesach. And when the hour was come, he sat down, and the 12 apostles with him, and he said unto them, With desire I have desired to eat this Pesach with you before I suffer. For I say unto you, I will not any more eat thereof until it be fulfilled in the kingdom of YAHUAH. And he took the cup, and gave thanks, and said, Take this, and divide it among yourselves. For I say unto you, I will not drink of the fruit of the vine until the kingdom of YAHUAH shall come. And he took the bread, and he gave thanks, and he broke it, and gave unto them, saying, This is my body, which is given for you. Do this in remembrance of me. Likewise also the cup after supper, saying, This is the cup of the renewed covenant, or the new covenant, in my blood, which is shed for you. But behold, the hand of him that betrays me is with me on the table. And truly the Son of Adam goes, as it was determined. But woe unto that man by whom he is betrayed. And they began to inquire among themselves which of them it was that should do this thing. And there was also a strife among them, which of them should be accounted the greatest. And he said unto them, The kings of the other nation exercise lordship over them, and they exercise authority upon them, and they that exercise authority upon them are called benefactors. But ye shall not be so. But he that is the greatest among you, let us be as the younger, and he that is chief as he that serves. For whether is greater, he that sits to eat, or he that serves? Is not he that sits to eat. But I am among you as he that serves. Ye are they which have continued with me in my temptations, and I appoint unto you a kingdom, as my Father has appointed unto me, that ye may eat and drink at my table in my kingdom, and sit on thrones judging the 12 tribes of Yashar'el. Okay, so we are now coming to the point that Yahusha will be taken and then crucified. Now, the Pesach was approaching, and we're reading in the Gospel of Luke, or the Passover of Luke, and the chief priests have already made the deal with Judas to take Yahusha, and this comes in the hours of darkness, okay, so when he's taken in the middle of the night. So what we're seeing is the beginning of the night here, and just to get an idea, I will look and see what other things have been written about the concepts that we discuss here in the Word. And what I just read before starting this was a commentary that speaks about, the synoptic texts of Matthew, Mark, and Luke, how they are, they're written together in a sense. They're paired together, so they kind of tell the same story. And Yehuchanan is different. It's very different in some cases, but it all tells the same story. Okay, and we use the word story. Story is not the right word to use. The same account. Okay, because we see story, the greatest story ever told, and in these times, the serpent story is something that's not real. Okay, a story is fiction. And the way the word of Yah has been fictionalized in many of our minds today. There is no Elohim. Okay, so we have to think about this, anyways. But to look at the synoptic texts, they're all pretty much have the same accounts and the same things that occur. So Yehukanan, it talks a longer period. So the majority of it is this moment, okay, for this time, where Yahusha and the Talmudim come together and he speaks these very important things for us to internalize into our Ruach, and that we read quite a bit. We read quite a bit because that's very important to us. But what we have here is, just as important with the meal that's being taken, where Yahusha says, with desire in chapter 15, I have desired to eat this Pesach with you before I suffer. For I say unto you, I will not any more eat thereof until it be fulfilled in the kingdom of YAHUAH. The readings that I have looked at is that this is not true, like it didn't happen this way. That somebody has written this account through Matthew, Mark, and Luke that all say pretty much the same thing, and they don't line up with the time frame. Okay, the time frame that occurred for Yahusha to be crucified on the preparation day, and then taken and put into the tomb of Joseph of Arimathea before the beginning of Pesach, okay, and then unleavened bread. So, the beginning of unleavened bread. So to not line up with the time frame. So the Pesach, the days begin at night. Okay, so when we see Yahusha with Nicodemus and Joseph of Arimathea hurrying to get the body of Mashiach down and then entombed before the sun went down, because that was the beginning of, unleavened bread, which is the Sabbath. So they were hurrying to keep the appointed time, the Moed. So here, with the beginning of the day, if they were eating the Pesach meal, it would have been the same time, which is at the beginning of the day that the children of Yashar'el would have been eating it dressed and ready to go. And then these other things occur throughout the day, and Mashiach is crucified, and then, or throughout the night, the trials, and then Mashiach is crucified, and then taken off, dies, taken off, and then unleavened bread begins. And then when he rises on that third day is the first fruits, okay, that we're going to learn about here when we study. Okay, but to go back to whether or not we eat the Pesach meal in this way, and no, because the Mashiach was our offering. So what was pointed to has occurred. Okay, so we have our sacrifice, okay, this lamb, and that the blood that we take is our belief in our testimony of YAHUSHA HA'MASHIACH. So we don't take the lamb anymore because the lamb has already been made the propitiation for us one time. So we have that, but we take what he has given to us, this gift. Yahweh has given this gift of repentance now through our doorway, YAHUSHA HA'MASHIACH, for us to get the leaven out. Okay, so the next step is unleavened bread, and that is 7 days shall ye eat matzah, even the first day ye shall put away the leaven out of your houses, for whosoever eats chametz from the first day until the 7th day, that soul shall be cut off from Yashar'el. And in this first day there shall be a holy assembly, and in that 7th day there shall be a holy assembly to you. No manner of work shall be done in them, save that which every man must eat, that only may be done of you. So on the first day shall be a holy assembly, and the 7th day shall be a holy assembly to you. No manner of work shall be done save that which you must eat. Okay, so what your meal prep, or what you should be eating. It's not necessarily meal prep, but it's that which every man shall eat, that only may be done of you. So leaven is a corrupting agent, which is sin. Okay, and what Yashar'el coming out of Mitzrayim, they're full of it. Okay, just like the Yaakov with his sons coming out of the house of Laban, okay, full of idolatry, and they were called to or Yaakov called his household to remove their idols, to change their clothes and wash themselves. That's exactly what we're called of right now. So right here with the seventh day of matzah, of unleavened bread, that's for us to take those things that we have been carrying with us out, this burden, the burdens that we've been carrying with us in this world, that as we're passing through the doorway of Mashiach, okay, the covering of the Lamb, then we take away the leaven or the corrupting agents in our Ruach. Okay, so that's us becoming holy. That's only done through the immersion of the Word. Okay, that's what the immersion is, what causes us to be sanctified. But we have to make that conscious decision to lay those burdens down, to take the leaven, the yeast, the corrupting agent, and take that away from us. So whatever shape or form that is, whether we stop doing something, we stop going to certain areas, we stop watching certain things, because we live in this digital age where we can just look and see whatever we want to see. We stop reading things. Okay, so that's our eyes, our window to our Ruach, right? We certainly stop doing the things that go contrary or of the life that we have just come out of. That's all leaven, a leavening agent. It's something that corrupts the batch of dough, okay? This is all the signs for us. So just like the lamb is the sign of Mashiach. So now we have this lamb, or this time of eating matzah, which is unleavened bread, and it's all a festival to a YAHUAH. So the point of that is to get the sin out of our lives, okay? To come out completely, and be single in the way of YAHUAH. And it says, ye shall guard the feast of matzah, okay? The 7 days, and the selfsame day I brought your armies out of the land of Mitzrayim. Therefore shall ye guard this day in your generations by an ordinance forever. The feast of matzah. In the first month, on the 14th day of the month, ye shall eat matzah until the 21st day of the month of the evening. 7 days shall you have no leaven, no chametz found in your houses. For whosoever eats that which is of leaven or chametz, even that soul shall be cut off from the assembly of Yashar'el, whether he be a stranger or born in the land. Ye shall eat nothing with chametz in your habitations. In all your habitations shall ye eat matzah. Okay, so it is very important that we honor the Passover. Very important that we honor the unleavened bread. But it's even more important to recognize why we do it. Why do we do this? Okay, it's for us today. This was pointing to the Mashiach, the Lamb of YAHUAH, who has come to take away the sin of the world. Okay, so he's our atonement, which we'll learn about later in Vayikra or Leviticus, with festivals that we observe like this in the fall. Okay, but here we have the first coming of our Mashiach, who came for salvation, as Yeshua, and to give his life as our Passover Lamb, so we can enter in through him, through his blood. Okay, and it's the same with the atoning blood too, that we'll learn about later for the fall festival. But they all point to the Mashiach. And then we take this path of the Mashiach, who tells us to repent, because the kingdom of heaven has come near. And that's taken the leaven, or the sin, out of our lives. And it's not easy. None of this is easy. Okay, all of it's really hard. It's really hard to get this concept, too, and to internalize it. That's why we have to immerse ourselves completely in the Word, and then stay in it, and then pray for the directions with it. Especially when we first come out, we're thinking about all the stuff that we need to do. Well, we need to do these things. You know, it's it's similar with communion. All right, communion in the life that I came out of, you know, that's what brought faith. All right, that was something that you did, and you ate bread and you drank wine, and it's supposed to be in remembrance of the Mashiach, but in all that's occurring with that is just it's the opposites. Okay, so it's still in being contrary to the way of Yahweh. He tells us to repent. He tells us He's the door, and that we can take that opportunity for life and life abundantly through Him. But to do these other acts, and we're speaking of communion specifically right now, which would be the Passover meal, but to have the bread, which is the body of Mashiach, and then His blood, which is wine. So we have our Yeshua through His blood, and we can enter back into our relationship by the bread, His body, which is His word, and then we can be made up of the body of Mashiach. But we can take part in these things that will sanctify us, and we have that opportunity with that sanctification to be the living water, to come back into that relationship, to house the Ruach HaKodesh and be Yakad, or beloved ones, beloved sons of YAHUAH. So the concepts, though, of unleavened bread and whether or not we have to keep a lamb and then kill a lamb, slaughter a lamb, and then cook the lamb in this way, then burn it all up. We have these festivals that we have here in these feasts, and they point directly to our salvation, which is our coming back to our Creator, just as it was in the beginning. Now, the point here is our Mashiach has already done that. So the lamb has already been killed, and His blood is what we enter in through the door. He is the door. But we have sin all around us. We're called to remove the leaven, which is the corrupting agent. That's what makes bread rise. So, and we're going to study that more as we get into Vayikra. But to see this here with Mitzrayim coming out, or Yashar'el coming out of Mitzrayim, and how we are coming out of the world today. Okay, so the judgments that were occurring just in this nation of Mitzrayim, they're going to be taking place, have been and will be taking place in this world. And what we see now is, for us that are becoming sealed in the way of YAHUAH, for us coming out, we're called to get the leaven out. Okay, we're coming out. We're leaving just as this group right here. But we have their mistakes, what they did and did not do, for our benefit. So we studied the Torah, and then we see what went wrong. Okay, and then we look at our lives, and we say, well, I'm doing the same thing. I'm going to stop doing that. Okay, because I can see how that led to that break, or that interruption in the relationship with YAHUAH. Okay, so we're going to stop there for today. And I hope that these words have blessed you. And I also hope that you yourself get into the Word and seek Him and seek the way, the instructions through His Word and through the Ruach HaKodesh. Okay? Because we ask, we'll be given these answers. And then we seek, and we will find. Okay? And we knock on the door of Mashiach, and Mashiach opens that door. So I would ask that you seek this information through His Word and through prayer, and then the way of your life, so that you get the answers and you get the way through the Word of YAHUAH. Okay, have a wonderful day today, and we will be back here tomorrow to continue on with Parsha Bo. Thank you.